Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 4, Appearance of Narada, text number 14, 15, and 16. So 14 and 15 I'll read for myself, 16 we will chant together. 14. Suta Uvacha Dvapare Samanu. 14 and 15 I'll read for myself. Suta Uvacha Dvapare Samanuprapte Tritiye Yuga Paryaye Jata Parasharadyogi Vasavyam Kalaya Hare. Translation. Suta Goswami said, when the second millennium overlapped the third, the great sage Vasudeva was born to Parashara in the womb of Satyavati, the daughter of Vasu. Purport. There is a chronological order of the four millenniums, namely Satya, Dwapara, Treta, and Kali. But sometimes there is overlapping. During the regime of Vaivasvata Manu, there was an overlapping of the 28th round of the four millenniums, and the 23rd millennium and the third millennium appeared prior to the second. In that particular millennium, Lord Sri Krishna also descends, and because of this, there were some particular alteration. The mother of the great sage was Satyavati, the daughter of the Vasu, fisherman, and the father was the great Parashara Muni. That is the history of Vasudeva's birth. Every millennium is divided into three periods, and each period is called a Sandhya. Vasudeva appeared in the third Sandhya of that particular age. Text number 15. Sa kadachit sarasvatya upasprushya jalam suchihi vivikta eka asina udite ravi mandale. Translation. Once upon a time, he, Vasudeva, as the sun rose, took his morning ablution in the waters of the Saraswati and sat alone to concentrate. Purport. The river Saraswati is flowing in the Badrikashram area of the Himalayas. So the place indicated here is Samya Prasha in Badrikashram, where Sri Vasudeva is residing. Text number 16. We'll chant together. Paravaragna Sa Rishihi. Paravaragna Sa Rishihi. Kalena Avyakta Ramhasa. Kalena Avyakta Ramhasa. Yuga Dharma Vyatikaram. Yuga Dharma Vyatikaram. Praptam Bhuvi Yuge Yuge. Praptam Bhuvi Yuge Yuge. Paravaragna Sarushihi. Kalena Vyaktaram Hasa. Yuga Dharma Vyatikaram. Praptam Bhuvi Yuge Yuge. Paravaragna Sarushihi. Kalena Vyaktaram Hasa. Yuga Dharma Vyatikaram. Praptam Bhuvi Yuge Yuge. Paravaragna Sarushihi. Kalena Vyaktaram Hasa. Savaragna Vyatikaram. Praptam bhuvi yuge yuge. What meaning? Paravara, past and future. Gna, one who knows. Saha, he. Rishihi, Vyasdeva. Kalena, in the course of time. Avyakta, unmanifested. Ramhasa, by great force. Yuga Dharma, acts in terms of the millennium. Vyatikaram, anomalies. Praptam, having accrued. Bhuvi, on the earth. Yuge, yuge, different ages. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The great sage Vasudeva saw anomalies in the millennium. This happens on the earth in different ages due to unseen forces in the course of time. Please repeat the translation. The great sage Vasudeva saw anomalies in the millennium. This happens on the earth in different ages due to unseen forces in the course of time. Purport. The great sage like Vasudeva are liberated souls, and therefore they can see clearly past and future. Thus he could see the future anomalies in the Kali age, and accordingly he made arrangements for the people in general so that they can execute a progressive life in this age which is full of darkness. The people in general in this age of Kali are too much interested in the matter which is temporary. Because of ignorance, they are unable to evaluate the assets of life and be enlightened in spiritual knowledge. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Hesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in the previous verses, the sages are asking question to Suta Goswami about history of Maharaj Parikshit, his birth, his activities, and the curse which he received, and also why did he prepare to die, leaving all the kingdom, everything, giving up everything. So after the sages questioning that, here Suta Goswami is replying. So in his reply, he has started describing about Veda Vyasa. So the question was something else. The answer here which he is starting is actually something else. So this sometimes looks like many places in Bhagavatam it happens like that. So some subject matter is going on. Suddenly a new subject matter, a new pastime or new thread of incidences is being described. So there is no chronological order. Say one by one, what happened? So they have asked about Parikshit Maharaj. Of course, all their questions are actually answered. So like Parikshit Maharaj, birth and activities are further described in the few more chapters in the first canto itself, 12th chapter, 16th chapter, 18th chapter. So even though activities are described but in a different place, but here suddenly Suta Goswami started explaining about Veda Vyasa, glorifying Veda Vyasa. So sometimes we don't see exactly the chronological order, the thread in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is going on in a sequential. So Prabhupada in one of the purport writes, why there is no chronological order in the Puranas? Because Bhagavatam is also one of the Purana. It's known as Bhagavata Purana or Mahapurana. So Prabhupada mentions that all the Puranas are historical facts described only in relation with the Supreme Lord in different ages and times as well as on different planets also. Therefore, we do not find any chronological order. So why it is not mentioned in chronological order? Because Puranas are exclusively describing the pastimes of the Lord with respect to different ages and times. Say Lord has performed one pastime in Satya Yuga, some pastime in Dwapar Yuga, some pastime in Treta Yuga, some pastime in some other Yuga, and in some other millennium. So when he is performing the pastimes in different millennium, the characters or the personalities involved in the pastimes in the some other millennium, they may not appear. And the sequence which was going on in the pastime is completely seeming to be like a lost. That particular thread is not being maintained. So here, the Purana's purpose is to just to glorify the Supreme Lord and his pastimes and his activities in relation with this particular devotees. So here, chronological order doesn't matter. Even in the introduction to Srimad Bhagavatam, if it is there here, here Prabhupada, in the introduction it is mentioned that Srimad Bhagavatam, how one should read Srimad Bhagavatam actually. I think here it's not there. In this edition it's not there. Yeah, in this edition it's not there. So in some other editions where I think it's in the original books, so it's mentioned where Prabhupada mentions that actually it's a spiritual subject matter which is important, not the chronological order. So just like when we go to read some novel, so there is some thread actually. So the way the subject matter, the interest of the subject matter is maintained. But here the spiritual subject matter is important, not the chronological order, because chronological order is not maintained. One pastime happened, suddenly there is a shifting from one age to some other age. There is a gap of 1,000, 2,000, lakhs of years. So that thread is not practical to maintain. So in this verse, Sutta Goswami has started describing about Vyasadeva. So here is mentioning that when the second millennium overlapped with the third, the great sage Vyasadeva was born to Parashara in the womb of Satyavati, the daughter of Vasu. So Satyavati, Mother Satyavati is the daughter of Vasu. So she was born as a fisherwoman. So that's why her name was Matsya Gandha. So because from her body always fish fragrance used to come. So that's why her name is Matsya Gandha. So then once Parashara Muni had come to the place where Satyavati with her father, they were staying there. So then he requests that, you please help me to cross this river. So generally where fishermen will live? They will live near, rivers, because they have to catch fish and they have to maintain their livelihood. So she requests them to, to cross that river. So then Satyavati, he takes Parashar Muni on her boat, and she was crossing. She was rowing the boat. So then Parashar Muni became attracted by the beauty of Satyavati. So then Parashar Muni, when he became attracted, so then he wanted to beget a son through Satyavati. So Satyavati says, no, I'm a virgin girl, not married. So what will happen if I beget a son? So then Parashar Muni, because of his yogic power, he promises her that even though you beget a son, but your chastity or your virginity will not be lost. So keeping your chastity and virginity intact, you can beget a son. Just like how Mother Kunti begot Karna before even the marriage by the blessing of Surya Dev. There also her virginity and chastity both were kept intact. So this is this is something which is unheard of in this age. So but whereas in the previous ages where there is where in the Satya Yuganda, this was practically possible and it was allowed also. So then he begets Vyasadeva from her womb. So then when they were going on the river, so because he had to know, she became impregnated. She has to deliver. So Vyasadeva created an island in the middle of a river so that she can give birth to a baby. So that island, because Vasudeva was born on an island in the middle of the river, is known as Dvaipayana. So Dvaipayana, because the two rivers were there. The river's name is also mentioned in some of the Puranas. So the rivers' names were, some river name is mentioned actually, I forgot. So because of that, he was born, that's why his name was Dvaipayana. And Vyasa means a person one who will elaborate, very elaborately explains. That's why his name became Vyasa. Then later he compiled Vedas. So because he compiled Vedas, his name became Veda Vyasa. So that's why sometimes we hear his name as Veda Vyasa, Vyasa, or Dvaipayana. So this is the history of Parashar Muni and Satyavati, and through by both of them, Veda Vyasa was born. So then here it's mentioned the second millennium overlapped with the third. So here Prabhupada in the purport mentions there is a chronological order of the four millenniums, namely Satya, Dwapara, Treta, and Kali. What we know, the chronological order is what? Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. That is particularly in the millennium which we are living. Where we are living now, only in that period, if the cycle is Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Kali. Otherwise, in general, it is Satya, Dwapara, Treta. Treta Yuga is third. Rama comes later than, after Krishna. Treta Yuga, then Kali Yuga. So in that particular millennium, there was a reversal of the millenniums. The third became second and second became third. So in that millennium, that means in the millennium which we are living. So Vaivasvata Manu, we in the mantra chanting, we chant, no? Vaivasvata Manmantare, Kali Yuge, Pratama Pade, Jambudvipe. So in the Vaivasvata Manu, so 28th round of the four millenniums. So Vaivasvata Manu lives for how many millenniums? Each Manu lives for 72 millenniums or 72 Mahayugas. What is one Mahayuga? All the four yugas put together is known as one Mahayuga. In like that, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, Kali. So these are four cycles put together is one millennium, one Mahayuga. So like that, 72 Mahayugas is actually one Manu's lifetime. Like that, there are 14 Manus in one day of Brahma. So that's why Brahma's one day is equal to 1000 cycles of Mahayuga. 72 multiplied by 14. It comes to 1008. So in that 72 Mahayuga is the age of one Manu. So Vaivasvata Manu, presently he is in this 28th cycle of the Mahayuga. So he's just young, not even reached his middle age. He's very, very young. He's in his 40s. He's in 35, 40. So Vaivasvata Manu is there. So in that cycle, the cycle reversed. Dwapara became third, Treta Yuga became second. So in that confluence, so when there was a confluence of Treta Yuga, Lord Rama's time, when the Treta Yuga was about to end, and when Dwapara Yuga was about to start, in that confluence, that is known as Sandhi or Yuga. So Sandhya, Prabhupada here is mentioned as Sandhya. Sandhi means conjunction of two places. So that during that period, this pastime happened and Vasudeva was born. So Vasudeva is not an ordinary person actually. So Parashara Muni was following all the regulative principles perfectly. So he knew that great son has to be born at this particular point of time. That's why he requested Mother Satyavati to get impregnated and give birth to a great son who is known as Vasudeva. So in the next verse it is mentioned, once upon a time, Vasudeva, as the sun rose, took his morning oblations in the water of Saraswati and sat alone to concentrate. So here it is mentioned about Saraswati river and Badrik Ashram. So he was staying in Badrik Ashram. So his birth happened in some other place. That as per the Vedic reference, it goes to his birthplace goes to somewhere in Nepal, the present day Nepal. So it's mentioned here that Srila Vasudeva, where he was born, present day it is in Nepal, on the road to Pokhar to Kathmandu, which in the days of yore, part of kingdom of King Janaka. There are local records that support this statement, which say that this was the ashram of Parashara Muni, and this place Srila Vyasa was conceived. This also lay claim that Srila Vyasa came back to that ashram and stayed there for some time, and this is why there is a small deity of him at the entrance of the cave. So his birthplace is somewhere in Nepal, where there was Parashara Muni ashram. So, but here, then he came and started residing in Badrika ashram, where Naranarayan Rishis are staying, where Lord Badrinath is staying. So there is a Saraswati river. So there he started doing his meditation as well as his further duties which he is supposed to perform. In the next verse, the great sage Vasudeva saw anomalies in the millennium. This happens on the earth in different ages due to unseen forces in the course of time. So now Bhagavatam, see, Vedavasa was born in one verse. Second verse he meditated in Saraswati, and third verse he had come to almost starting of Kali Yuga. So why chronological order cannot be maintained in Bhagavatam? His birth happened in the confluence of Treta Yuga and Dwapar Yuga. That means starting of Dwapar Yuga. So then already in the two verses only, the entire conversation has come to the starting of Kali Yuga or end of Dwapar Yuga. So because Bhagavatam has to give the actual message. If you really want to understand what and all happened in the Vedavyas's life in that entire Dwapar Yuga period, you can refer to so many other scriptures will be there. Reference will be there. But Bhagavatam is actually directly referring to message which is our pastimes of Vasudeva in connections with Lord Krishna. Wherever is there a connection to Lord Krishna, the reference where the subject matter has to be explained, only those portions are taken and explained for the welfare of the mankind. So here Vasudeva is seeing, already he has started seeing that, the Kali Yuga is about to begin. So he has seen anomalies means, bad omens, some symptoms which are not so good. So then when he is seeing that, so he could see Kali Yuga, what is going to happen. That's how in the first chapter, 10th verse, it describes about what are the symptoms of Kali Yuga people. First canto, first chapter, 10th verse explains about that. Kali Yuga, the people will be very short-lived. Prayen alpayusha sobhya kalau asmin yuge jana mandha sumanda matayo manda bhagyahi upadrita. So this is what we could see, that in the iron age of Kali, men have short lives. Prayena alpa ayusha. Their life will be very short. They are quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, they are always disturbed. So this is the description of Kali Yuga, which Vedavyasa is seeing here actually, that people will be disturbed by all these things. They will be harassed. They will be influenced by these qualities. So when he saw that, that is the time where that is actually here. There is the scene is getting created. The background is being created for the Vedas being written. Then Srimad Bhagavatam being explained. So in the purport, Prabhupada mentions the great sages like Vasudeva are liberated souls, and therefore they can clearly see past and future. So Vasudeva is known as Trika Lagna. So he knew past, present, of course present anyway, he knew things are going around, so he knows that, but he knows past and future as well. What had happened before even he was born, and then what is going to happen in the future. So one devotee asked a question sometime back that in the first canto, first chapter, the first verse describes about the glorification of the Supreme Lord. So here Vasudeva is offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord, that he's requesting the Lord's mercy to compile Srimad Bhagavatam. Then second verse explains about Srimad Bhagavatam, glorification of Srimad Bhagavatam. So then immediately after that, third verse comes. Then suddenly Suta Goswami reference starts coming. fourth verse onwards. Bhagavatam, first chapter, fourth verse. It starts describing about Nimishe Nimisha Kshetre Rishaya Shona Kadaya Satram Sarga Lokya Sahasra Samamastata. So the sages headed by Shaunaka, they all assembled in the forest of Naimisharanya. So for a great 1,000-year sacrifice for the satisfaction of the Lord and his devotees. So immediately, so Prabhu actually, like Srimad Bhagavatam is describing about Suta Goswami, Shaunakadi Rishi, Naimisharanya, which happened much later. But whereas Bhagavatam was compiled way back in the starting of the Kali Yuga by Vedavyasa. So Vedavyasa compiled Bhagavatam first, and then this conversation between Suta and Shaunaka is happening. Then how could Vedavyasa wrote that Shaunaka and Shaunakadi Rishi and Suta Goswami conversation is going to happen in the Naimisharanya forest? How this description is there in Srimad Bhagavatam? Exact conversations. So the why? Because the answer is that Vedavyasa knows past and future both. He could see what is going to happen in the future. He could see Parishit Maharaj getting cursed, Parishit Maharaj preparing himself to die, leaving the kingdom, everything else. And then Shukadev will come, he will recite Srimad Bhagavatam. There Suta Goswami is going to be present. Then after he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from the lotus mouth of Shukadev Goswami, he is going to re-narrate the entire Srimad Bhagavatam again in the Naimisharanya. So Vedavyasa knew all these things because of his special potency, Trikalagna. So that's how we could write Suta Goswami, Shaunakadi Rishi's conversations, which is going to happen in the Naimisharanya forest. Then he could see future anomalies in the Kali age, and accordingly he made arrangement for the people in general so that they can execute a progressive life in this age which is full of darkness. So to save the people from this darkness, the age of darkness, so Shukadev, Vedavyasa started writing different Vedas, then Srimad Bhagavatam and all other things. The people in general in this age of Kali are too much interested in the matter which is temporary. Because of ignorance, they are unable to evaluate the assets of life and be enlightened in spiritual knowledge. So, Kali Yuga, people will all be interested in only material things. Material things means what? Things which are temporary. So, they are all interested in their family life, their relatives, family members, some temporary sense gratification. They don't even know that there is a life beyond the sense gratification. So they are completely ignorant, that their life is very short, completely ignorant. They cannot think beyond sense gratification, just like animal. You cannot see any animal sitting together and thinking about what will happen to my future. Should I invest in my mutual funds, share market, so that for the future I could save some money. No FD making, no opening of bank account. So animals also don't think about the future because they're completely ignorant. They're happy if they get food for that day. They're happy if they get some facility for the sense gratification. But human beings, even if the human beings are also doing the same thing, then what is the difference? So you enlighten the human beings not to become animals. That's where the role of Vedas or different Vedic literatures comes into play. So why Vedic literatures? Why so much of energy, time and being invested on these things? Because this is very, very important. Without these, we cannot properly even live. Srimad Bhagavatam in the introduction, Prabhupada explains in one place that what all Srimad Bhagavatam explains. Srimad Bhagavatam explains astronomy. Srimad Bhagavatam explains neurology, psychology. So many different subject matters. All those things are there. So what we are going to invent, what we are going to find something new, this is not actually new. It's all there. One place Prabhupada mentions, history repeats. History repeats means actually things are going in circle. So there was some economic development, big things were invented and then everything was destroyed. Then further it is being invented. Then it will get destroyed. Further people will come, they will put their fertile brain, they will invent. And again it will close. Again everything will collapse. So, but what is permanent? Permanent is the devotional service. So, human beings have to understand this, that what we are going through, what we are struggling, what we are trying, becoming very proud of our new inventions. It's not something new. It's been going on from time immemorial. So that's why material world is known as Bhutva Bhutva Praliyate. So it is manifested and unmanifested, manifested and manifested. Nothing to create new. It was there in an unmanifested stage, then the Lord will come when bring that entire material manifestation into a cosmic this thing into manifested stage from the unmanifested stage. Then again it will go to the unmanifested stage. So this is going to happen even without our endeavor. But where we should have put our endeavor, that is for understand that why are we suffering in this world? Suppose if you ask someone, what is the goal of your life? 99.9999 people, they will say, to become an engineer, to get a good job, to get married to a very beautiful wife, children, opulence, prosperity. I want to become a CEO of this company. They have all these ambitions. No one will say that I want to understand who am I. I want to understand why I am suffering in this world. And I want to understand where is my permanent destination is. No one knows. Suppose you are traveling by a train and you are asking your fellow passenger, the person who is sitting next to you, if you ask him, where are you going? If he says, if he's blank, I don't know. What kind of answer is this? Where are you going? Where you want to go? No, I don't know. Okay, forget about that. From where did you came? That also I don't know. Then why are you sitting in this train? That also I don't know. What you will think? Is a gone case. इज ए गॉन केस, वो उनको कुछ गड़बड़ हो चुका है, ये तो पागल हो गया, कहीं ढीला हो गया, नट लूज हो गया इनका. Similarly, if some liberated living entity or some intelligent person comes and asks us, who are you? We will say so and so name, but that's not our actual identity. Like that, if you want to say so many millions of names, you have to tell, millions of identity you have to prove, because we have taken those many forms, those many lives. So then where we want to go? Actually, we don't know, because we don't have any information at all where we want to go. What is our goal? What is our destination? So Srimad Bhagvatam is actually, that's why it's known as a very, very crisp and direct this thing, where it tells that, who are we, what we are supposed to do, and where we should go. Where we should go? To the Supreme Lord, to the abode of the Supreme Lord. That's where Srimad Bhagavatam, which describes some of the pastimes of the great devotees in detail, and some in a very nutshell, so that we can understand that what is the goal of life. So in the Bhagavatam, you see, at least you will find at least 1 dozen such explanation of the kings, those who renounced after their grihastha life. They went to the Vanaprastha ashrama, they performed severe austerities, they went back to Godhead. So Bhagavatam is actually teaching that. If someone who is interested in going back to Godhead, if someone is interested in other subject matter, Bhagavatam can give answer to those also. That's why there is a chapter in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the name of the chapter is Srimad Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. Second canto, that chapter is there. So it can give answer to all the questions, provided you are interested in reading that. Provided you are reading Srimad Bhagavatam under the guidance of a person Bhagavata. Otherwise, okay, then by reading Bhagavatam, can we become liberated? Yes, Bhagavatam has that potency, but that guidance has to be there. If you have to operate a machine, you have to operate as per the instructions given in the manual. If you wrongly operate, even the right machine can give wrong results. So we have to operate as per the manual given. So Srimad Bhagavatam, even in the Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, Prabhupada clearly says, one has to accept Shri Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even theoretically, and then start reading. Bhagavad Gita in the introduction, Prabhupada mentions. Why? without accepting Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, if you try to read Bhagavad Gita, you will all end up in understanding in a wrong way. Maybe if you are very intelligent, you will take it as some manual for the management, something for the mind control. So blah blah blah. So many such things are there. Or you may even end up understanding that Bhagavad Gita is a talk by a very egoistic person, where in the entire book he is saying only I am, मैं बोलते जाते हैं. Any powerful thing in this world, if you see, they're all me. Everything is coming from me. Everything is going to get amalgamated in me. So, but whereas if you read Srimad Bhagavatam in a way which is described, which is prescribed in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam itself, then you can understand, oh yes, Krishna is speaking. So Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no wrong in claiming that everything belongs to me. It's not a egoistic man claiming that everything belongs to me, just like any previous autocrat kings. They used to claim that I want to win the whole world. So Krishna is not in that mood. Krishna is actually the owner. So if the owner is claiming, it's not egoistic statement. It is his actual rightful claim. So even to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, so the method given in the Bhagavatam is that one should read Grantha Bhagavatam under the guidance of person Bhagavata, Purusha Bhagavata. So then we can understand the message of Srimad Bhagavatam properly. I'll stop here. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.